Hemant, you can start from yourself.
Yeah, so I work as an Oracle application lead analyst. So I'm on the technical side. I mean, I know functional because I've been working on
Mm-hmm.
Oracle EBS for almost 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
I also work on Power BI, Informatica, Snowflake, and a PLM tool. So my company is moving to SAP for HANA in near future, probably next 7 or 8 months.
Okay.
They're going to start implementing it. So
Okay.
I thought to have some knowledge
Okay.
in hand before the implementation starts.
So if I'm not wrong, your company is migrating from Oracle to SAP?
Yes, so we actually like the company I work for. We have like a lot of companies under our group.
Mm-hmm.
So like the one which I work for, like that's the biggest one. So they use Oracle ERP, but then we have other entities which use like SAP ECC and then Sage and King D, and we have like 6 or 7 different kind of ERPs.
Understood.
So Oracle would be at the last. So they're gonna start implementing with some small ERP and put that in
Mm.
HANA and then go with the next one. Yeah.
Got it. Thanks. Thanks for introducing yourself, Hemant. Then we'll go to Slok. So Slok, you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, hello everyone. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah, okay. So I work as an SAP Wi-Fi Fiori consultant
Ah,
in an US-based organization,
okay.
and I have total of almost 4 years of experience in this field. So just wanted to learn like ABAP as well. That's it from my side.
Okay. So you're into UI5 and theory. So,
Correct,
you will be, I mean, like you will be consuming the OData services from the backend, and that's when you wanted to learn ABAP as well, so that you will become a
correct,
understood.
correct.
Good, good.
So like till now, I only know the consumption part, but
Mhm.
like the development part and all, like I'm like very beginner in that. So just wanted to learn it from scratch.
Understood.
That
Good.
was the whole idea.
Good, good. So, from the data source perspective, this training would be really helpful to you because
Mm,
the day what you would have to do is you need to prepare data source from your side and then
mm,
integrate your master in it. So you can easily grab that and you can able to put it into that UFI app and a lot of freestyle UFI developments also coming in the picture. So for some
mm,
customers, and when you go to public cloud as well, you would be in a position to prepare a data source, I mean, no data source from different perspectives, and you have to
mm.
integrate from your application. That's how it is. Good, good.
Correct.
So somebody is waiting in the lobby. We'll just bring them into picture.
Okay.
Hey Deepti, good morning. Am I audible, Deepti? Hello, you're on mute. You're on mute, Deepti. Could you please unmute yourself? Still. Hello, Deepti. Okay. Okay, that's fine. So then we'll get started actually. So today, today's session, what I'm going to do is I'm just giving a brief because this is a demo session. I'll be giving brief and what aspects ABAP contains actually. What aspects ABAP contains and being like I could understand that Hemant has come from the Oracle background and then Slok has come from the same SAP background. So you feel I want you guys to feel comfortable in the particular session to understand something out of it and then make some good insights from the SAP perspective. And I don't take much into from the what I can say is theoretical session basically. I'll just give the outlines of the theoretical and I'll just take you to the practical part and then I'll show you. what are all the contents which are there in the SAP GUI screen, and what an ABAPer does from the SAP's perspective. So you will be notified. I'll be giving some insights to you in terms of SAP ABAP perspective, wherein you will be understanding, like, as an ABAPer, what I'm going to do in the real time. Okay, so that I'm giving you brief in this particular session. So I'll pause you for a couple of minutes at the end, and you can bring out your questions at that particular point of time. I hope that should be fine for everyone as well.
Yes,
Yeah,
fine for me.
Thank you so much. And so I'll be just sharing my screen. Let me know when you can able to see my screen.
yeah, we can see your screen.
Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for confirming. Okay. Right. So basically, abbreviation of ABAP. So basically, why ABAP? Before ABAP, actually, I wanted to make you understand about SAP first. So what exactly in SAP is? SAP is also a kind of ERP. What is exactly in ERP is enterprise resource planning. So let's take an example. I have a company called as MRF Tires. Okay. So MRF Tires is a company which has, as everybody knows, MRF Tires contains a lot of units in their business. Okay. So actually, the thing is, everything in ERP, we have to think in a business perspective, not in a software perspective. So MRF Tires is my client. So, okay, MRF Tires is my client, which has many entities in it. So entities in the sense, the business portion of it actually. So business portion first contains production, and then sales, and then marketing, and then procurement, and then finance, and then warehouse, and then extended warehouse, quality management, and then many things like this, quality management, and then asset management, asset management. Okay. So I just brought out a few of the examples. So what exactly these departments does? So I'll just make you understand within a couple of minutes. So first thing, production. What exactly does? The production will produce the products from the company. I mean, like, what it does is it produces. So tires will get produced from the production. But as and when the production was done, what we have to do? We need to sell the product, correct? So that's when the sales and marketing team will come into picture. They does the sales. It just does the sales. Okay. So, and then procurement. When the raw material was being not there in your production unit, actually, what you does, you procure the raw material. You procure the raw material. When from where you procure the raw material? From the vendors. You have different vendors in the market who they produce the raw material. So you procure the raw material from the vendors and you bring out to your plant, and then you'll start the production from them. Okay. Once the production has been done, then what you have to do, you need to finance. I mean, you need to give the orders for the customers. And then based on the orders you received from the customers, you do some billing. So that means for a customer one, you have 100 amount of tiles which have been sent. So for 100 customers, like a 100 amount of tiles, you need to bill it, right? So in that case, like, finance come into picture. So this finance will maximum take care of the billing part and invoice part. Let's take an example. In the real world, if you can imagine, like, you have ordered a SanDisk pen drive in Amazon, and as and when you ordered it, what will happen? It will ask for the quantity, how much of quantity you need. You press only one. So after that, what will happen? Add to cart. So when you do the add to cart, what will happen? So that will go and sit in the cart. And once it sits in the cart, it takes us to the billing cycle. I mean, billing, it takes us to the billing screen wherein you have to enter your credit card or debit card details or net banking or cash on delivery, whatever it is. And then at the final end, what it does, it gives a delivery, it asks for a delivery address. Wherein when you prepare a delivery address, when you give the delivery address over there, it just saves the delivery address, and then it brings out the SanDisk part to your home. That is called as delivery. But as and when you do that, when you see the box, I mean, which contains a pen drive in it, actually, there is a mark, I mean, there is a scanner code which has been lying in it, actually. And apart from that, there is a delivery address and the shipping address. Shipping or delivery address and the sent address also would be there actually. So that sent address is something which the Amazon people have sent to you, that send us SanDisk pen drive. And then the delivery address is something for which it has to be delivered. That is your address. So that means all these things will be there in one particular a small piece of paper. So that paper is nothing but an invoice. That paper is nothing but an invoice which finance team does in the MRF. So I'm just talking about the MRF types here, which is a big entity. It's a huge entity. So that as and when the tires have been ordered by the customer, it will not go by boxes. It will go by containers, or it will go by big trucks as such. So then when you go with the big trucks as such, there is some QR codes which are lying in it with a paper carried by the driver. So then as and when it goes to the customer, what it does is they just scan that particular code and they'll notify that, oh, this has come from this side. Okay, then get the load into a stock and then warehouse. They'll put in their warehouse. That's how the things goes on. So entire business process actually, so will be handled by SAP here. Okay, and then the next one is warehouse. So they'll get the products. So where they will store actually the product, they'll have to store in one of the place. So that place is nothing but a warehouse. So they'll store the warehouse and then extended warehouse. It's a big topic actually from the SAP perspective. So they'll make use of drones. The technology was being now in a big shape actually. So as and when the situation comes when they have to order 100 ties from their plant, so they'll not go and pick all the 100 ties manually. They'll just send the drone and drone will capture that particular thing. And as and when they capture and gives a signal, these people go there and pick the bin and then get the container load from there to a lorry or a truck or somewhere like that. And then the quality management. As and when you see that the product has been developed, so there is a team called quality team which checks the quality of the product actually. So that comes under the quality management. And asset management is something which is also similar to the quality management. I mean, like warehouse management only. There actually how many number of materials or the products which have been lying in our warehouse, and there are some certain assets which have been made from their business perspective. So that comes under asset management. So there are a lot of modules. I just brought out only few in this particular picture so that you make you understand about what exactly is an ERP first. Enterprise Resource Planning. Enterprise Resource Planning. So for enterprise resource planning in the market for now, there are giants in the market like Oracle, JD Edwards, Microsoft ERP, BAN. I don't know, BAN was there or not for now. BAN. There are certain different kinds of enterprise resource planning softwares are readily available in the market. But basically, if you know it or not, I'm just giving as an example, almost 96% of the world ERP customers are SAP customers. Truly, SAP customers. In one or another aspect, they'll use SAP. That's how it is actually. Okay. So why SAP? So because ERP is a big thing which I just mentioned it. So ERP contains all these modules. When your business is huge, when you wanted to what I can say is acquire all the modules which are there in SAP. So that's when you can take this particular SAP software and you can install it in your system, or ERP software installed in the system. Okay. And when the business is different, let's take an example. It is an MRF client which I'm just mentioned it here. But if your business is a retail business like Walmart, Ratnadeep, Flipkart, it's a kind of retail businesses actually. When you get into this kind of business, SAP has introduced some IS softwares. IS meaning integrated solutions. Integrated solutions. It contains IS retail, IS utilities, kind of softwares. So retail utilities, these softwares are add-ons to the existing systems so that when your business is being expanded to the next version, I mean next level, So that means you are completely into retail business and you don't want this production and all. Then you have this particular system which is inbuilt, and then after that you can request for the add-ons from SAP, and they'll give it to you along with your GUI. That is called as integrated solutions. Okay. Now, days are going into the cloud now. So there are many cloud technologies which has come into picture. Even SAP also should have to compete with them. So in that scenario, what these people have done is, these people have acquired some cloud solutions. So that means these people have acquired some companies before, but after that, these people have acquired some cloud solutions as well. Okay. So let's take an example. What are the acquisitions which SAP has in the real time? Acquisitions. Business Objects is a company which is a company in the like 2012 or 2011. SAP is acquired. After that, Success Factors. This deals with HR operations. Success Factors, employee central, Success Factors, HR. So there are many things over there in Success Factors. And then Concur. Concur. It's also kind of one of the cloud operation. Qualtrics. And then Ariba. Ariba is also a separate company which is acquired by SAP. So these are all like different kinds of companies, and these been integrated to SAP now. Now, as I mentioned, there were 96% of the world ERP customers are SAP customers. How do I confidently say that? Because if you can see, entire business which is being made in any of the industry was being delivered by SAP right now. So that means they are not even in this particular part, they are also in this part. Why? Because if the customer asks a different kinds of solution, what they can do, they can able to give the solution which is there already in their different plate. So this is a different plate altogether when they acquired the companies with regards to the business which SAP customers have been asking for. They acquire the companies and they are giving the service to the different kinds of customers which are there in the market according to their businesses. So that means these acquisitions have helped them for the marketing team to acquire more number of customers in the market. So that is the reason SAP is now a #1 software in the ERP industry, irrespective of all the giants which have already been there in the market. Okay. So any questions till now regarding ERP and SAP and then business processes? Any questions? And can I move on? Yeah, thanks. Thanks for confirming. And then I do want to make it as an interactive session so that I'll stop somewhere like and I'll ask you guys to, just show like your interest as well, like how you guys are taking it. And this is what I wanted to understand. Okay. So now let's move on. Now, what exactly is SAP? What is an abbreviation for SAP? Systems, applications, and products. Systems, applications, and products. That is the abbreviation for SAP. Systems, applications, and products. Okay. Now, in SAP, whatever I mentioned in the previous case, so in SAP, everything is being segregated as a module. Is segregated as a module. So, as I mentioned, all the business related modules here. So I'll just give the module names here now, according to the business process. Now, for production, SAP has introduced a module called as PP, Production Planning. It's a module. Okay. It's a functional module basically. Sales and marketing. Sales basically. SAP SD. Sales and distribution. Okay. And then marketing. SAP has already got a software. SAP CRM. Customer Relationship Management. It contains marketing as well. And then vendors, procurement, SAP MM, a most used module, materials management. Okay. And then finance, SAP, FICO, the world's best SAP module, finance and controlling. I can say in the whole world, SAP FICO is the best module I can say is the #1 module in SAP's module. After that, ABAP. So second one is ABAP. So warehouse, SAP WM, warehouse management. Okay. And then SAP EW, extended warehouse management. Okay. SAP QM. Okay. Quality management. Quality. Okay. Asset management. SAP, I think EM or something. As enterprise asset management. EAM. Yes. Enterprise asset management. Okay. So these are all the modules. And apart from that, the integrated solutions are IS Retail, IS Utilities. So these are all the modules which are there in SAP. There are many modules as such, but I've just brought out you a few of them so to make you understand about SAP's modules. Okay. Now, let's get into ABAP. Okay. So, but before getting into ABAP, I just wanted to brief you about the architecture of SAP. Okay. So, for the last 30 minutes, I'll be taking you to the system. But before that, we'll just understand some theoretical part because it is needed for everyone to make you, make you understand about what exactly it contains and what is the different kind of business processes you already knows about it. But when it comes to a regular theoretical stuff, actually, what does it contain, like application layer, presentation layer? This stuff we are going to learn now. Okay. So I'll just take you to the PPT. So I hope my screen is visible. So it's a fourth generation language. That's why they'll mention it as ABAP fourth generation language. ABAP 4 they'll maintain. So what exactly is an ABAP means actually? ABAP is in advanced business application programming. There is only one particular programming language in the picture previously. Now there are many has come actually. Previously, there is only one particular programming language in SAP's perspective, which is called as an ABAP. Any technical issue which you have facing actually in terms of technical or code as concerned, only ABAPer is the one who can solve that. Even now also. Even now also. So if there are many UI technologies which has come like there are BTP which has come or some kind of other technologies which has come into SAP. But till now, ABAPer is a kind of what I can say is kingmaker, I can say. So he is the only one who can fix all the issues from his side. Okay, that's the advantage or that's the kind of thing which ABAP contains. So it's a very important module, I can say. Without ABAP, SAP is nothing like that. Okay. So ABAP is SAP's own programming language, originally used by developers to develop the SAP R3 platform. There was an R3 platform which is being lying previously. Now it was R4 and now it was S4 HANA as well. So to make you understand about the history, they have written all these points. I'll send you this PPT at the end of the class so that you can just go through all these things. Okay. Now, basically, when SAP has introduced, basically SAP was not introduced by itself. SAP was introduced by 5 people who are from IBM. So they came out of IBM and then they introduced a software called as ERP software in that, like not ERP software, they introduced a software called as SAP in terms of ERP to understand the business needs or to fulfill the business needs. So they have worked in IBM and they are worked in a different ERPs that side and that time, and then they came to know the business process needs and they wanted to build a new ERP which will fulfill all the needs of existing business processes. So in such a situation, they've introduced a concept called as SAP. And then from there onwards, SAP has been evolved as a big software in terms of ERP as concerned. Okay. So in terms of ABAP, this language is fairly easy to learn for programmers, but it's not a tool for direct use by non-programmers because it's not a tool like Power BI or something. It's a programming language. It's a core programming language. Basically, it contains coding. But once you get into the coding, it is easy, I mean to say. It is easy. It is not like as tough as Java or Python as such. It is easy. You can easily cope up and you can easily understand, you can code yourself. But just that initial 15 days or 1 month hurdle would be there. That I'm just giving you a kind of brief on it. But once you get into that, actually, you'll become like what I can say is you'll be used to it. So you'll code something and you'll know how to debug that, and I'll make you to prepare in such a way that I'll give some interactive sessions every time, and so that you can easily learn it. Okay, don't worry about it. Okay, so a lot of programming languages come into the picture in the outside world, but SAP still remains ABAP as a programming language for them. So as and when the first release has come, it was R3 and then R4 and then next ECC, and then after that there will be like a business suite and then like EHP and something like that. They have been extending their versions, but ultimately they have come with with a database called as HANA, and then they've integrated that into HANA, and then they proposed a solution called as SAP S/4HANA. Okay, I'll just give you a brief what HANA is, and then after that, I will be explaining you what is S/4HANA just in a moment. Okay, I'll just take you to the next slide. So this is a three-tier architecture, which everybody knows about it. Actually, I'm just giving you a brief in terms of SAP is concerned. This is a baseline architecture as a three-tier architecture. We have application layer, database layer, and presentation layer. And you can see the presentation layer, whereas this is SAP GUI, which I'm going to show you as in the practical way by within half an hour. So there, people will be using it actually. So in our case, who will be using this SAP GUI? The programmers, as well as the end users, as well as the functional people. Everybody use this SAP GUI, which is a presentation layer. Now, what is an application layer? Application layer is something which will be processing the content. Okay. And then database layer, which does the database management system. Okay. And there is a module called as SAP Basis. SAP Basis. I forgot to introduce you here. Actually, SAP Basis. Now, what SAP Basis does? It does all the kind of authorization jobs, or a kind of what I can say is rules, authorizations, and some system installations. So this kind of job which basis people do. Basis is also one of the module wherein these kind of activities they does. Okay. And the basis system is a multi-tier client-server architecture system. The individual software components are arranged in tiers and function depending on their position. Okay. So the classic configuration of R3 system contains the following layers. As I mentioned, the presentation layer, it's a graphical user interface wherein SAP people will go and will do all the activities within the presentation layer. And the application layer contains one or more application servers and a message server, wherein as and when the data has been received from the database, it processes the job, it processes the content in it, and the application layer will bring back the output to the presentation layer and displays in the presentation layer. Okay, so what exactly is the database layer? Okay, we'll discuss this in a brief actually. Database layer, as everybody knows, database layer is something which contains a database and it sends out the data to the application server. Okay, so initially, as and when SAP has come into picture, so they have been using a database called as Oracle. Okay, so database called as Oracle. So initially, they will be using the Oracle software. And after that, what happened? Basically, when you use the Oracle software, Oracle people will have to urge for the license, right? So we'll have to like their license. So license cost, let's take an example, 1000 USD. 1000 USD. And they have been using it. So 1000 USD is, I don't think it's a one-time license. It has to be like renew time to time actually. So then SAP has gone with another software called as DB2. Sometimes for some customers, DB2 is by IBM. Again, license they have to take it. MySQL they chosen from Microsoft. Again, license. SAP is thinking it. Why you have to take the license every time from the database management or the database vendors? And they have been asking us to renew every time. And there are some restrictions as well from the database perspective as well. And we don't have control on it actually. SAP is thought in that perspective. So they thought in that perspective, and they just decided it's not going to be in this kind of way in the future. They wanted to bring out a new ERP. They bring out a new database completely from their side. When they wanted to bring out a completely new database from their side, actually, they have designed a software called as HANA, High Performance Analytics. High Performance Analytics, HANA software. So what this HANA database does, how it is different from Oracle, DB2, and MySQL? HANA database is an in-memory database. In-memory database. It has in-memory engine. In-memory engine. It is more faster than any other database in the world. That particular point of time. Now, many in-memory databases have come into picture. So they have been doing their operations with regards to their customers now. But in 2011 or 2012, I don't remember exactly, in-memory database was being introduced by SAP, which is called as HANA. SAP HANA. SAP HANA. Okay. So as and when SAP HANA comes into picture, people are still using SAP R3 system, or R3 system, R4 system, R4 system. As I mentioned, ECC, ECC system. So EHP system, these are all systems. I mean to say versions actually. These are all versions. Okay. SAP Business One. These are all the softwares. I mean, ERP, I mean, SAP's versions they have been using. SAP B1, like that. Okay. So these are all customers are using. And but still, these SAP softwares contains these databases. These databases. But for these customers, actually, what the customers have to do, they have to renew the license, or SAP has to renew the license, correct? So when the renewal has been coming to picture, there will be some painful thing. Every time they have to go and renew the database, or otherwise something will be going to be messed up for them from their side. So these things come into picture. So then SAP has decided, no, this is not the way we have to serve the customers. We have to think in a different perspective out of the box. So then SAP has introduced a software called as SAP S4 HANA. It's not a software, I can say. It's a box, SAP S4 HANA. So in the previous versions, when you have it, what are the disadvantages? First thing is, you have to pay a license for the database, vendor, daily vendor, and some modules, like what I mentioned, a different kind of modules with regards to the business processes has to be there in a different systems. Has to be there in a different systems. Those they will call it as a boxes. So modules with regards to business processes, different business processes. Are modules with regard to different processes are laid inside SAP, are lying inside SAP GUI as a different box in the sense different system boxes. So that is also a kind of painful thing. So let's take an example. They created an order in one system. They go and create a delivery in another system. That's how. So as and when SAP S4 HANA comes into the picture, so first thing is vendor is SAP vendor, database vendor is an SAP vendor, and it's a in-memory engine, which is much more faster than other databases. And then modules are integrated. Okay. Next, offered a way to connect to the third-party systems or softwares through OData. Got it. When a customer is using a kind of a different third-party system and they wanted to integrate with SAP S4HANA system, SAP R3 doesn't have that option, I mean, completely, but SAP S4HANA has it actually. They have an OData software. It's a gateway software which is installed in the system. And as and when you prepare a kind of data source in the SAP S4HANA system, that can be exposed to the outside world through OData software.
So what is OData used for? Sorry, I didn't.
Yeah, Open Data Protocol.
Is it used for connecting with other?
No, I mean, let's take an example. OData is something when you wanted to expose the materials data to the Ariba system, but Ariba system is a third-party system. So in this case, how do you integrate that into here? So you'll
It's like ODBC kind of thing, ODBC, ADBC connections.
no, there will be no ADBC connections as such. We have something called as gateway protocol would be there, gateway client would be there. So we will be preparing a kind of data source inside the SAP system, and we will be exposing it as an URL. So when the URL has been consumed, that can be consumed by the Ariba system, and they get the SAP S4HANA data into their Ariba system. That's how it is.
Just like REST API kind of thing?
Exactly, REST API.
Okay.
It's a kind of REST API, wherein like these people call it as OData software. OData. So there will be a separate, what I can say is add-on which has to be installed in the system, but that SAP S4HANA will take care of that particular add-on. There is no need of adding a separate add-on into the existing system, because it is already integrated one which is being lying in the SAP S4HANA system. So this is the biggest advantage, because why I mean the biggest advantage, because as you know, as I mentioned in the previous point as well, every customer in the existing business process are moving into the cloud solutions. When they move to the cloud solutions, there should be something which brings out the bridge between the your SAP S/4HANA system and that cloud solution which SAP customer is using. So in that particular aspect, you need to serve the customer's needs. So in such cases, OData will be our weapon. So to expose the SAP S/4HANA's content to the outside world. That is what we've been doing. So Shlok, I think you might aware of this, right? When you build an SAP, we build a UEFI application outside the world, then OData is something which can be exposed as a URL, and you can integrate that URL and bring out the SAP ECC or SAP S/4HANA content to the UI5 app over there, correct? Or you'll be
Correct,
deploying
correct,
that app somewhere, and then
correct.
ultimately you will be giving all the kinds of SAP's real-time data to the world, real world. I mean, from the SAP system, the
Hmm.
data will come and it will show in the app level. That makes the customer very much benefited in terms of the app level, and he will be in a situation to take that. It will be a motivation for the customer to bring out SAP S/4HANA license and take that. So now, I mean, as and when SAP S/4HANA comes into the picture, believe it me or not, like customers are growing like anything now for SAP, because SAP S/4HANA produces many features wherein customers are being attracted in terms of their business process as concerned. So when you are doing some business and when you wanted to take a license of the software, which gives you everything, so you will be in a situation that you have to take that software because it brings out everything to you. When you are using a kind of SCM, supply chain management. Sorry, I just mentioned. I just have to mention it here. SCM, which is a finest module in SAP, is supply chain management. Okay. When a customer is using SCM and he wants us to bring out some data from S/4HANA, so you don't need to bother about the thing. So SAP S/4HANA will bring out all the possibilities to get the data from the SAP S/4HANA system to the outside world. So if he's using the success factors, if he's using the Concur, Qualtrics, any kind of application. So SAP S/4HANA brings out that through OData, and it just a kind of URL which has to be integrated to the application which is lying there. That's it. Everything will be taken care by the protocol itself, OData protocol. That's it. Okay. Any questions here?
And not from my side.
Yeah. Thank you. So I don't get into the like PPT and explain all the theoretical concepts here, but I'll just make you to understand about the real business processes. That's the style of my teaching basically. So I'll show you what is happening inside outside world actually. It's not about just showing you the PPT and explaining the contents over there. I just wanted to bring out the real picture to your mind, like what exactly is happening outside world and why we need SAP. Why we need SAP S/4HANA? What exactly SAP S/4HANA brings to you or to the customers. End of the day, that is what you have to know about it actually. So when somebody asks you why you are learning SAP, you should be in a position to answer the question like SAP is this kind of software and produces all these kind of advantages to it. So that's the reason I'm learning it, so that if I go inside that and if the customer is using a different third-party software also, I myself have to be, as a developer, I'll be bringing out the OData protocol and develop OData services and then produce the same result to the customer so that he integrate and he'll bring out the SAP S/4HANA data to his own system, though it is a third-party software. So these kind of answers will, bring out a different kind of version or different kind of, different kind of motivation for you guys to learn SAP S/4HANA. I hope this is clear for everyone. And I'll just go to the PPT once again to make you to understand a small topic here actually. Okay. Then within 15 minutes, we'll go to the system and I'll show you all the transactions over there. Okay. Now, so application server contains a different components basically, which is called as work processes, dispatcher, gateway, shared memory, database connection. So database connection is something, these things will be auto given for us actually. It is defaultly given for us from SAP GUI. We don't need to bother about it. What is going on in the application server? Because application server does the job by itself. We don't need to bother about it. But just the kind of theoretical knowledge you have to go through all these contents to know what exactly our process means. It contains some shared memory allocation wherein the content is being transferred from one place to another place. And then as and when the task has come, it just segregates it and does the job there. And then it's a kind of operating system, which we already learned in our MCA or BTech over there actually. It's just a generic processes, which everybody knows about it. Dispatcher is something which dispatches the contents over to here and there. I mean, the different work processes, and then it just dispatches the content. And as and when the dispatcher does this job, and there is a gateway which just process the dispatcher job, and then the shared memory will share this particular content to different memory allocations. And then the database connection is something which you have the R3 system. As I mentioned, the Oracle or some kind of MySQL DB2 was being lying in their previous versions of SAP. Now, since we are in SAP S4HANA system, there is nothing to be bothered about underlying database. I'll show you in the system level what exactly the database which we are using it right now, so that you also can understand what exactly the database which you are using it in your company system when you go into the real-time world. Okay. Now, there are types of work processes which is there in application system. This is also a kind of generic term which which we already learned in the our academics. So dialog work processes, update work process, background work process, enqueue, spool, like that. Okay. So I'll send that PPT. You just go through all these contents in the PPT. This is just a self-understanding. I don't want to waste the time here. And then get into this is structure of the work process, screen processor, ABAP processor, database interface. Whatever I told in the three-type architecture, that's the same thing. Database will bring you the data. Application server will process the data. Presentation layer will display the data. That's it. You have to keep these 3 points in your mind. That's it. And then coming to the next point, screen processor is something. A processing logic will be done in the screen level, as I mentioned, as in the presentation layer. So it comes to the screen and displays over there. That's it. Yeah, there is one point which I have to highlight here. From a programming point of view, user interaction is controlled by screens, as well as the actual input mask. A screen also contains a flow logic. So there is a concept called as module programming, wherein as and when the screen has been displayed for us, we will be getting into the screen and change some data over the screen. And then it goes back to the code again and come back to the screen again. And then it is the to and fro navigation. That I'll show you practically when the right time comes. So now for now, so the screen contains the screen flow logic is what you have to understand in the screen processor section. Okay. Now, ABAP processor. As you know, ABAP is a programming language. It itself contains a process actually, which is called as ABAP processor. It executes the processing logic, which in the application server, which is in the process of ABAP application program, and communicates with the database interface. For an example, a real-time example I can say for this particular process. I want to get my requirement is I want to get the 3 sales orders from the system. Okay. So that means be it ECC, be it S4HANA, doesn't matter, but you have to follow the same process. Now, what you do when you wanted to get the 3 sales orders from the system? So first of all, what exactly you need? You need a table which contains the sales orders. You should know about the sales orders which is lying in the table. So once you get the table name, what you do? You write a query. You write a query. That's the same way every programming language does. Select sales orders from a table. I'm just giving you a generic example like that into a kind of table. We will be dealing with one of the temporary tables here, which are called as internal tables. I'll just take you as and when the programming gets started. Underscore table where or up to you want to get only 10 sales orders. Okay, 10 rows. That's how you query it. As and when this query has been executed, what it does, this query we will be writing in an ABAP program. We will be writing in ABAP program. I'll show you where you write an ABAP program. ABAP program. So as and when you write this particular query in an ABAP program, what it does, it compiles it. So underlying compiler will compiles it and gets the data from where it gets the data from the database, and it shows in an output of the screen, which is called as an output screen of the program. So this is what an ABAP processor does. This is what ABAP processor does, which is practically given in this, which is practically given here, and which is theoretically provided in this PPT for you guys to understand. Okay. So this is how things are. So that means when you write a query, actually, it goes into the database, get the relevant data which you expect from the query. And then after that, it gets the data and process it and then shows it in the this level. I mean, what level? Screen level. Okay. Give me a moment, one moment. Just a minute. Okay. So we'll come to the database interface. So database interface, as I mentioned, it is for terminating, establishing connection between the work process and the database. At the same thing, as I mentioned, like database, as and when you connect to the database, basically database gives the data to the application server and it processes it, displays it in the presentation server like GUI. Now, what database interface does? It access to the database tables which are lying in the database, access to the R3 repository objects. That means ABAP programs, as I mentioned here, as and when you do the query, what it does, as and when you does this query, as and when you create this query, so what it does, it goes to the database, get the relevant data, put it in one of the temporary table here, displays it in the output. That's what. What is the channel which does all these operations? ABAP program. You write an ABAP program, get the data in the from the ABAP program, and displays it in the output for the ABAP program. That's it. Okay, that is what it is mentioned. Access to the catalog information. There are certain tables which are already there in the SAP level. So that has been segregated with regards to the modules, and that will be stored in a process called as ABAP dictionary. Okay, and controlling transactions. There are certain aspects when you do some job, when you do some activity in the system, then it has to commit to the database. So that commit and rollback handling also does from the database perspective. Table buffer administration on the application server also sometimes taken care with the database only. Okay, so there is no manual intervention in this concept is what I wanted to mention to you. Database interface, ABAP processor, there is no manual intervention at all. You don't go to the database and adjust something over there. No, you don't have control in it. Now, let's get into the practical part now. So as I mentioned till now, I just explained what are all the contents. I'm just revising one by one what I've explained. I just explained about the generic ERP process, what is there in the business first. And then I just explained you different modules which are being lying there. And I just explained you what is enterprise resource planning and why SAP will be chosen by most of the customers in the world. And what exactly is SAP is, and what is data, what are the databases which SAP holds it previously, and what database SAP brought it right now in the real time, and what exactly the SAP HANA does, and what are all the previous softwares and what are the disadvantages from the previous softwares, which brings out from the SAP, what is the motivation for SAP to bring out the SAP S4HANA comes into the picture, and what exactly SAP S4HANA does, and what's the advantage which provides SAP S4HANA from the SAP S4HANA perspective to the real customers. So these are all the things which we discussed till now. Now, I'm slowly taking you to the next part of this particular training, which is called as SAP ABAP. SAP ABAP. Now we are just starting over here. SAP ABAP. Before giving the index or the kind of contents over here in the ABAP, I just want to make you understand about the existing business process along with our SAP content. Okay. So as I mentioned, there are different modules which have been lying in the SAP level, which are integrated to the business processes which are lying in the existing business. So now, what exactly an ABAP does? What exactly a job of an ABAPer here? Okay, we'll make you understand. Role of an ABAPer. We'll just understand this first. Role of an ABAPer. I just put here a simple words to make you understand in a better way. First thing, the role of an ABAPer is writing programs. Yes, yes, this is important. Though it is a simple term, but I'm writing in a clear way to make you to understand we are writing programs. And then interacting with third-party softwares, building screens. We are building screens over here, preparing data sources, making connections sometimes from SAP system to third party. Basically, we don't make it usually, but I can say it's an optional one. Okay. Preparing tables, creating tables. Sometimes custom tables are also needed. Tables, etc. So these are the generic role of an ABAPer actually. So from the ABAP perspective, these are all the things which have been done from our side in the near future.
I have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
What do you mean by preparing data sources?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Preparing data sources in the sense, as I mentioned in the previous example, an Ariba system is a third-party system which want to bring out which wanted to take the SAP S4HANA materials from it actually. So when you wanted to get the materials from the SAP S4HANA system, Ariba system cannot take that directly from the SAP S4HANA system. There should be a gateway or there should be a kind of URL, REST API URL, which has to bring the SAP S4HANA data to the Ariba. Correct or not? So for that, actually, what we build is we built a OData surveys. We build a OData surveys to bring the materials from the existing SAP S4HANA system. We prepare the OData protocol. We'll just bring out the URL from the OData process, and then we'll just expose that URL to the Ariba people. We'll just give the Ariba people a URL from the SAP S4HANA, which in turn is called as a SAP data source. That means our OData service, which I can say is also a data source. Okay, data source. It is also called as data source. We are building data sources in terms of OData, which exposes SAP S4 HANA content to the outside world. Hope it is clear.
Yeah, and you don't write reports.
Yeah, we have to write the code. That's what I'm saying. We have to write the code. For building the OData, we will be writing the code through the gateway.
No, I'm talking about writing reports. Do you write reports within SAP? Do you create reports within SAP which the user can
It's
use?
not a report. It's not a report, I can say. It's a kind of a project we will be creating as part of OData. So I'll be showing you practically. But we will be creating a project, and from their project, a framework called as Gateway Framework, which is already lying in the system, which will convert the existing project's code, whatever we write in that particular classes and methods. So that will convert the code. The framework will convert the code into a URL. So that URL will be exposed to the third-party people or a kind of Ariba
No,
people.
I got that part. But do you guys create like RICE reports, interfaces,
That's
conversion,
what I'm saying. We will
extension?
be preparing an interface. You can imagine in that perspective. We will be preparing
Okay,
which
but
can.
do you write reports? I'm not talking about this generic thing, but like for an example, I wrote a report which will show all the items which are active with
That's
having some
yes, yes,
specific attributes.
yes. Yeah, these are
So
the
you
concept.
use ABAP for that, or you use something else
Exactly.
for that?
These are all comes under ABAP programs only. Reports.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
reports, interfaces, conversions, enhancements.
Mhm. So for all these four, you need ABAP, right? Like in Oracle, it is PL SQL.
These are all RISE.
Right. So, yeah.
Reports, interfaces, conversions, enhancements, and sorry, there is one more, forms.
Yeah.
Generate forms as well.
Mhm.
Okay. So these are all the things which will be does as part of RISEF. So I just mentioned in a generic term called as writing programs. Okay. So
Mhm.
these are all the things which we does here as an ABAPer. We does all these things. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. So everything will be done by ABAPer. Nothing cannot be done by ABAPer. That's what I'm saying. ABAPer is a kind of what I can say is monarch here actually, who does everything here in SAP level. So that's the reason. Even if you go to the outside market, what is the prominent software, prominent module within SAP? First answer would be SAP FICO, which is a controlling and finance. And the second module is SAP ABAP, which is a top module in SAP's perspective. So even now, if you put your resume in the market, basically you will get at least like 30 to 40 calls per day for an ABAPer with a kind of 5 years of experience. So that's a kind of need which is being received by the companies, because there are a lot of projects which are there in SAP, and you don't have that much of skill set or a kind of consultants which are there to fulfill the gaps. So till now, this is a kind of what I can say is a software which is being what I can say which is ruling about SAP's market is what I can say. Okay.
So with this cloud thing also still the ABAP is used. That you were talking about that BTP, and I heard about BTP.
Yes,
So
yes.
it's not going to take some things out of ABAP and now it would be
That's
used
that's a
like
different story altogether. I'll explain you tomorrow actually what exactly is BTP.
okay.
Okay, because you will be bombarded with a lot of things in the first session.
No,
I don't
yeah,
want
I
to confuse
understood.
you.
Yeah.
So I'll explain you about what exactly BTP is, and then what exactly cloud softwares, and what is the role of an ABAPer, when it comes to the cloud softwares in the market. Okay, because being a demo sessions with the first two sessions, I just wanted you to feel comfortable here. Actually, that's the reason I'm just giving you all these things in a simple perspective to make you to understand and feel comfortable here. Okay, let's get into the SAP topic now. SAP ABAP. Okay, so in SAP ABAP, apart from SAP ABAP, there are certain in the SAP level actually. So there are certain things which are already provided by SAP through the software license. That means there are two things, which is you have to understand the term standard, custom. Standard, custom. Okay. Custom are something which is a programmer made or a functional people made, anything which is made from the developer or the functional people, which would be called as custom, which starts with Z or Y. Okay. Rest all the things are standard. Rest all the things, rest all the content is standard. Okay. So what exactly you mean? Like how do I identify whether it is a standard or a custom? If it starts with Z or Y, you assume that is a custom. If it is other than Z or Y, then it is a standard. Anything. Okay. So just a simple question for you. There is a program RBDM IDOC. Is it a standard or a custom?
Standard, right?
Standard one.
It's a standard one. Okay. And Z rep 1. Is it a custom or a standard?
Custom.
Custom. Correct. And then there is a table called as Y orders. Is it a standard or a custom?
Custom.
Simple. That's it. Okay. So this is how you need to identify the differences between the standard or a custom. Now, you can ask me, Kiran, when you have a standard or a custom, when you have the custom, why SAP has provided standard for us actually? Yes. SAP software comes with all the standard content which is lying in the software itself. Okay. I'll just take you to the system so that you can understand in a better way. But let me complete this theoretical part first. So when something is there in the standard, what you have to do is you should not touch the standard at all. That means you should not modify or you should not change anything from the standard perspective. You should be in a position to just use the standard content. That's it. You should not touch anything over there. But then how do I make my custom developments or a custom kind of things being in the picture actually? That is why SAP has brought up these two things, Z or Y. With custom things, you can start with Z or Y and you can take any kind of custom developments over there. That means when you wanted to create a table in the system, you can create Z table 1, like that you can create. When you wanted to create a report, rep 1. When you wanted to create a no data, Z no data 1, like that. You can create as many number of custom things you can, but don't touch the standard is what the recommendation from the SAP's perspective. Now you can ask me, Kiran, if you are saying that the standard should not be touched, but my business process or the requirement is something else. When there is something which is happening in the business process, I do wanted to do some validation between. Then what I should do? In that case, I should touch the standard itself, or otherwise my business process doesn't contain the validation at all. So in such cases, I cannot fulfill my customer needs. Then what do you want me to do? Yes, there is a concept called as enhancements. Enhancements, which is brought up by SAP. Okay, enhancements. Enhancements contains user exits, customer exits, baddies, etc. So these are all hooks provided by SAP in the business process. It is already provided by SAP, hook provided by SAP, hook in the sense wherein you can take that point and you can write your own code over there. Okay, hooks provided by SAP. In that particular hook, you can able to write the code and you are not altering the business process as such, but you are writing some code which is through the business process, your code also will get executed and it will fulfill the customer needs. So that's how it is. Understood? Now, this is the one which is provided by SAP for us, defaultly. Yes.
Just a question, bro. So by enhancement, you mean extension, right?
You can assume as an extension, but I don't think is an extension. Extension is something like you are extending the content, but this is something like as and when the business process is going, that means I'll just give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a business process. Here, after between 3 and 4, there is a hook provided by SAP. Okay, this is what is called an enhancement. That means within the business process, if you wanted to do some kind of validation within the business process, then SAP has given you a kind of allowing, that means a kind of what I can say is path for you to just provide the hook and does your job over there. Extension is something 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and SAP has provided something which is called as extension. This is what I do understand your point. Actually, this is not an extension. This is just a
Oh,
hook provided by SAP. Got it?
yeah, understood.
So now I'll be taking you to the system. I just show you the difference between the custom objects and the standard objects first to make you feel comfortable. Okay. Let's get into the SAP system. You have a remote connection, and the remote connection, what you have to do is you just have to get into the remote connection first, and then with that, like what you do, you just run command, click on run command in that MSTSC you need to give. And after that, it proposes a computer like this. And the vendor, I mean, Geeks people will give you a computer URL, I mean, this path, something you have to enter, connect. There you need to give the username and password. That's it. You will be getting into the system like this. Okay. So once you get into the system, this is a SAP logon pad. This is SAP logon pad wherein you have the system which is lying over there. A4H. Okay. Now, what you have to do is you have to get into this user credentials. See, these are user credentials. Login detail. King, welcome 123. I will click on it. You just paste the URL over there. King, and then welcome 123. Copy this. Put it in the password section. Yes. Okay. So, have you observed some pop-up which has come? Expiration, something which has come, right? So, what does that indicate? That indicate the license. That indicate the license actually. Okay. So, since it is not a productive system, basically you don't find any license such, but if it is a license-based software, in the right-hand side here, you will be finding out the kind of license expiration date or something like that. Okay. Now, this is the SAP's user access, easy access screen. This is SAP user access or easy access screen. Okay. Now, there is a point where you can see a kind of drop down here. So drop down here, and here what you do. This is a kind of transaction screen. Okay. This is a kind of transaction code which you need to enter. For every business process in SAP, there will be a transaction which is lying under it. Okay. There is a transaction which is lying under it. Okay. So the transactions contains different transactions, be it a technical transactions, be it a functional transactions. I'll give you 2 to 3 examples. SE38 is a transaction which writes ABAP reports or programs. Okay. VA01 is a transaction which creates sales orders. ME21N which creates purchase order. Okay. SE11 ABAP dictionary. Okay. SE37 ABAP function module creation. Okay. SE11 SE16 ABAP database explorer. There are certain transactions. There are many transactions. I'll give you brief as and when the time comes. Explorer. There are many transactions where ABAP goes and creates. So these two are functional transactions. Apart from that, these SC, whatever it comes, these are all technical transactions. Okay. So first of all, we'll make, I'll just take you to all these transactions one by one. So first thing is SC38, wherein a program you need to create from your side. Okay. So ABAP creates a program. And then SC11, ABAP dictionary, which contains all these properties. I'll explain you one by one as and when the right situation comes. So database table, view, data type, type group, domain, search help, log object. Individual things have individual importance actually. So I'll give you a brief as and when we start the ABAP dictionary topic. SC37 is one of the transaction, and SC16 This is one of the transaction data browser. And if I give a database here, this is a data table. Okay. So this is how the transactions. So where can I, if I know the transaction, and if I'm not completely remember the in a situation to remember the transaction name, so then where I have to go? SC93 is a transaction where you can give the transaction code over there. Let's take an example. I know only SC, but I don't know after that what will come. So if you give SC, it will bring out all the related SC kind of transactions here. Okay. If you put SC and star, press F4, press F4 here. It will give all the transactions which are starting with SC. Got it? It simplifies the process for you. Simplifies the process. Wherein, as and when you go deeper into it, so you have to get into this kind of SC16 and get into here, based on. Yes, see, lot of SC transactions are readily available. You can choose one of it and you can able to go inside it. Okay, that's all. If you just press a test button, this is all. Got it? So when you are not sure about this transaction, there is a transaction code called as SC93. You can get into this and you can give the transaction code, execute. Got it? So every transaction will have a significance. Let's take an example. VA01, which is a kind of sales order creation. So functional people will create a sales order here. Okay. There is a transaction called as ME21N. This is a purchase order transaction. So functional people will create a purchase order in the system. Okay. And then there is a other one called as VF03, which does a billing document creation. Billing document creation, VF01, I believe. VF01, which creates a billing document. Okay. Like that. FB60, which does the invoice. MIRO, incoming invoice. MIGO, goods received. So these are all the transactions which are lying in our system, basically. Okay. You'll understand better in a brief way in the next session, because in the next session, what I'm going to do is I'll explain you the business process completely along with the transactions one by one. So that as and when you get into that particular part, you'll feel comfortable, more comfortable than existing thing. Okay. So any questions till now? Or is it okay? Are you understanding? Are you following with me?
Yeah. I mean, this I know a little because I've been learning on my own.
You know a little bit. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I know functional a bit because I've been
You
practicing.
can able to simply relate it, Hemant.
I have more questions on the technical side, right? Because I
Yeah.
try to compare it with Oracle, how in Oracle we do and
Yes.
how it's gonna things
So,
over here, right? So,
so business process will be as similar as such, Hemant. Just that the transactions and other things would be differ here actually. And the business,
right. The technology is different
yeah,
because we use PL SQL for creating everything over
exactly.
here. It's ABAP.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, functionally it's same, right? I mean, create sales order, purchase order, and all
Yes.
the things the same. Kiran, can you drop me your number and I'll call you sometime because I have to drop now.
Yeah, sure.
I
Not a
have another class,
anyway, we'll
so
be
I'll connect with
winding up
you
the session
and
within like 5 minutes, so that you can just wait for the next 5 minutes and you can able to we'll close the session. Hemant. Just last 5 minutes.
no, actually I'm already late. Like
What is it?
this, so it used to be started because I'm in US, right? So it used to start 10:30 my time. So if I told the person that from now onwards it'll be 10:45.
I think you can do one thing. You can ask Prasad to take my number actually, because
Okay,
yeah, you can ask Prasad so that he'll give you my number to you so that you can contact me if there are any questions.
sure, and we'll connect tomorrow at the same time, right?
Yeah, sure. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah. And Slope, as I mentioned, you
Hello.
already know all this content. I mean, like the SAP system and how
Hmm.
the URL brought it. At least you would have better idea. I mean,
Hmm.
when you compare to Hemant actually, because you
Correct.
already goes here and deploy your UF application somewhere here, right? So you
Correct.
in
I
this
am
experience.
kind of familiar with this. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And Deepti, hello.
Yeah, hi, sir.
Hey, hi, Deepti. Sorry, we've been like I thought of unmuting you, but somehow I couldn't able to do that. So could you please introduce yourself and what is the background of your job and are you a fresh? Yeah, you can just introduce yourself.
Okay, myself, Deepti. I am from Guntur. I completed my BTech in Rajahmundry Engineering College.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything about ABAP.
Okay. Okay. No problem at all, Dipti. Don't worry about it because I teach in such a way that everybody, even like a kind of guy who does a kind of just engineering graduate and came to the industry, I'll teach in such a way that he'll understand much better way than the existing professional. So don't worry about it and just follow the sessions. And then if you have any doubts or something, I'll always be reachable to you. So you just ask in the sessions. I'll give some time in the session level, last 5 minutes or so that you can ask the questions. And there are recordings which I'll be sending to you. And go through the recordings. And if there are any questions in the next class, you can able to ask those questions. Okay, don't worry about it. And just follow the sessions. And if you have any doubts, you can able to stop me in between also. That also should be fine. And if I say like it would be answered at the end of the session, then I'll definitely answer at the end of the session. Okay. So feel comfortable. And what I recommend you is just go through the sessions and get an understanding over what is the content which I just presented to you today. Okay. Okay. So since Hemant was already left now, so I just want to make this is more interactive. So Shlok and Dipti, any questions from your side till now, or you just understood the concept and how it would be, and are you at least a bit comfortable on this? From tomorrow's session, it would be a kind of real-time scenarios I'll be starting. So are you okay with it, or you want me to change in a way which I'm teaching right now? Bit theoretical is needed, or let me get into the practical and then start something which makes you more interesting. Any suggestions?
Kiran, from my perspective, it's perfectly fine.
Okay.
Some concepts I needed to know, which are now like very much clear.
Okay.
So I think the theoretical part should be there,
Yeah.
because there are some new terms and all which I was not
Mhm.
aware of, but
Okay.
now it is very much clear.
Okay.
Just one more question from the course perspective.
Yeah.
So by the end of this course, I'll be able to debug, like, let's say,
Good question. So one moment, Shlok. What I do is actually I'll make you an ABAP Shlok. Okay.
okay,
At the end of the, don't worry about it. ABAP in the sense it's a debugger. So what you can do is I'll tell you. There is a student of mine who stays
Mhm,
in Poland actually.
mhm,
So he's an UEFI developer, core UEFI developer. So
mhm.
what he does is he took my training and now he can able to deploy his application in BTP. He can able to create UEFI application from the scratch. And whenever there is an issue in the application, he go and keep the breakpoint in the backend and he can
Mhm.
able to debug from his side completely. And not to mention
Oh,
his salary got doubled.
okay. So that's
Okay.
perfect for
So
me.
don't
Perfect.
worry about it. Just that follow my sessions and
Mm.
then practice it. Because
Okay.
as you know, Shlok, practice is the key for this topic actually.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
If you practice more, then you get a good understanding. That's the only mantra here actually. So
Okay.
Deepti, this applies to you also. When you want to get into this particular course and if you don't practice it, it will be a kind of Greek and Latin for you at the end of the course. You won't get anything out of it. So what I recommend you guys is just listen the class for 1.5 hours or 2 hours going forward, and then give at least 1 hour of time for the practice. Just go through the recording for 1 hour and then give the practice for 1 hour. If you are confident that you understood today's concept, then directly get into the system and practice. Because a lot
Okay.
of content will be shared from my side. I'll create a lot of tables, I'll create a lot of programs, I'll create a lot of interfaces, function modules, RFCs, many things I'll be teaching you in this course. So what you need to do is you need to regularly write some running notes out of it, or even I'll be sending you the PPT and as well as my notepad notes as well. So you go through that, you get some good understanding over the concepts which are lying over there. And then if there are any questions, you mark that points and come back to me again on the next morning and you ask that question to me and I'll clear it. So after that, you start practicing because practice is very, very important. So if you don't practice it, let's take an example, if I taught you like to create a table, if you don't practice it immediately, you will be losing it actually. You will be losing one more session. So in the next session, I'll be taking you to the view. So if you don't practice the table, how do you get into the view and practice it? Because you don't have a background of a table, right? Understood. So
Correct.
there is some dependency over the concepts one to other. So when you don't practice the existing content, you will be in a backstep of it actually. I don't want my students to get into that stage. So that's the reason I recommend you guys to practice it. At least spend half an hour of time or 1 hour of time to practice the that particular day's content. Got it?
Right. Got it.
Yeah. Any questions? Any other questions or doubts from your side?
No doubt, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Shlok and Dipti, thank you so much for joining the session today. And we'll meet at the same time, 7 a.m. tomorrow, Indian time. So we'll be going to next topic now. So I'll be explaining more and more details about the existing work processes and then the SAP screens, how it would be, and what are all the things which are lying in that side. So I'll be taking you to the next level of ABAP. Okay.
Sure, sure, sure.
Thank you so much. I'll be sharing the recording to you guys. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you
And
so much.
Kiran, just one more thing.
Yeah.
Actually, I have not worked with extending the standard apps in terms of SAP UI5. So UnoGeeks is like running some sort of classes for UI5 and all. Are you aware of it?
Yeah.
So actually, I
But
want to
extending
learn
the
that
app
as
comes under Fiori actually. We don't teach Fiori here. We are into HANA and ABAP actually.
well.
So extending the app in the sense, I'll give you a brief actually at the end of OData. So when I'm teaching OData, I'll just give you a brief how to extend the service from the backend level. So when it comes to the backend, how do you extend the service is what I'll give an example to you. Okay.
Okay.
So that you get a better idea because that's the same way usually other requirements also does. And I'll just give you a simple example, or I'll just send you a blog with the kind of example which is lying in it, so that you will get a better understanding over there.
Okay. Okay. And in terms of like Fiori extension, like the
That's what. So Fiori extensions in the sense like from the app level you extend it, but from the
mhm,
backend level, basically what you do, you have to extend the gateway service as well. So
correct.
that part we will be seeing it in our course. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Understood.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks so much, everyone,
Okay.
and we'll meet tomorrow. Thank you.